the Mirthmobile.
I think we'll go with a little
Mixtape Monday.
Exit to each other. Party on, dudes!
next party on.
Party on, Wayne!
Party on, guys.
All right, what up, everybody? Trying a solo cast tonight. We'll see how this goes or how long this lasts. So far, I've already got Lady Marine in the chat, giving me a hard time as always. And yeah, so before I started my intro video, I did in fact crack open a beer because I thought that the microphone was muted, but here we are anyway. So cheers to Monday. All right. Really fell off last week, didn't get any individual videos out, so I have a slew of things to go through, and we're going to kind of decide what I feel like talking about tonight, what I'm going to keep for maybe some later videos. Anyone that's been paying attention, obviously we got a lot of spicy news going on lately about Russell Brand. I might touch on that for a minute, but I'm gonna save that one for I'm gonna save the details for a little bit later as well. We've also got Jacob Ironside in the chat. What's up, brother? Always good to see you. But I think, because I was supposed to probably try to do a video about this last week, and things just kept coming up. Where did I put that link? Oh, no. It's on... Oh, I got it. So, if anyone is familiar... Yes, very spicy. Yeah, there's been some weird stuff going on about Russell Brand. I will save some of my commentary for that until maybe a little bit later or until I do my own individual video about it. But I do love a good conspiracy theory, and I think that it's a bit of a calculated attack against him. So we'll just leave that there for right now. So I was going to try to do a video about this last week when it was first announced. Obviously, it kind of missed my window. Stuff kept coming up. But for anyone out there who is familiar with the bands, either Tool, A Perfect Circle, or to a lesser extent, Pussifer, you know, their lead man, Maynard James Keenan, also a master winemaker, has his winery in multiple locations throughout the greater parts of Arizona. And also to point out too, like, he didn't just buy up a winery and slap his label on it. That guy is out there in the fields harvesting, you know, doing the whole thing, putting in the work. But anyways, he announced that Maynard James Keenan of Tool, Perfect Circle, and Pussifer is turning 60 years old in just a few months, in 2024. So he announced a show that is going to include two of his bands, Pussifer and A Perfect Circle, and then they threw Primus into the mix. And I guess kind of they're doing some limited dates, a couple of in California, some in Arizona, I think one in Utah. And they're saying they're going to kind of, each band's going to have their own respective sets, but then throughout the night, people are going to be kind of rotating in and out on and off the stage and just kind of making a big spectacle of it. I did, in fact, grab tickets for it in my local venue. It was not the cheapest concert I've ever paid for, but it was a little bit up there. I think the cheapest tickets started at $60 for way in the back. I think I grabbed some that were $80 before taxes and fees. Yes, he is in fact turning 60. I believe these shows are taking place in April of 2024, so I'm assuming his birthday is somewhere around there, but it's a very short handful of dates in the month of April. So yeah, when some of your favorite musicians or favorite artists start turning 60, does that mean that Tool now belongs on the classic rock charts? I don't know. So they're gonna make a big party out of it, and they did kind of this funny promo video for it. And again, like, I'm still a little rusty at the whole live streaming thing, so I'm gonna rely on anyone. Hey, Devin, what's up, brother? Always good to see you tuning in. I'm going to rely on those of you in the chat to let me know if the audio is working or not, because on my end, I know when I play this video, I'll be able to hear it. But if any of you watching cannot hear it, let me know, and I'll either just nix the whole thing or I'll try to fix it. But hopefully this will work. So here is the promo video that they did for Maynard's 60th birthday coming up. Let me know if you can hear this.
Hey, guess who? You got Maynard James Kennan from international recording acts Lucifer, The Tools, and Complete Circle.
Perfect.
Complete.
Perfect.
The perfect. Complete perfects.
Perfect.
I'm having a party. It's a birthday party. I'm turning 60 years old. We're gonna play some songs with you with my friends from Lucifer, a Complete Perfect,
Circle,
and Primus. We're gonna all be on the stage at the same time, kind of like We Are the World without the bleachers and plastic surgery. And you're all invited. Get your tickets right away. The guy is gonna tell you where we're doing it.
Lucifer Entertainment presents Sesanta, a 60th birthday celebration for Maynard James Keenan. An evening with a perfect circle, Primus, Pussifer, Primifer, a Primus Circle, a Pussifect Primecle, and a Prifect Pussicle. Plus some guests, some special, some not so much. All three bands on stage at the same time. It's a party.
Can I get some food?
So there you have it. The announcement for Maynard James Keenan's 60th birthday celebration. And yeah, I think it's kind of weird too that he's already turning 60. But like I said, I snagged tickets to that one. So and I'll admit, like, I'm maybe not the world's biggest Primus fan, but I appreciate their talent. I think there are very talented musicians. Les Claypool is obviously all in a world of his own. So being able to at least kind of have that under my belt to say, okay, I saw Primus. I was at this 60th birthday party, because I've seen Pussifer, I've seen A Perfect Circle. They're not at the show, obviously, but I've seen Tool multiple times. But this should be quite the interesting show. Devin saying that Tool is more pop rock, let's be honest, like the OG Nickelback. I mean, you're not wrong. They're just a cowboy hat and some bedazzled jeans away. All right, Jake, thank you for letting me know that was working. And get that man some prune juice. Yes. So the funny thing about Maynard is, so he put out a book a few years ago, I guess somewhat or more or less like an autobiography. I'm aware. I know where you're coming from, buddy. So Maynard kind of put out like an autobiography. Like, he put out a book a few years ago, kind of the story of his life and everything. And he talks about all the way from the early beginnings of Tool and getting into winemaking and anything and everything else under the sun. And it was funny to me that in the book, he talked about how he'd always had this fascination with wanting to blend comedy with music. But any of you watching who are familiar with Tool, and especially if you're familiar with Tool fans, they are very serious. They're very aggressive. They're very, a lot of Tool fans really don't have much of a sense of humor. In the book, Maynard told the story of one time where they went out on tour with Tool and they brought Tenacious D on tour with them. And this was earlier on, where Jack Black was not quite the big movie star that he is. Tenacious D hadn't really made a name for themselves as a band and the whole thing. And they said that the Tool fans started throwing pennies and like throwing things on stage at Tenacious D because they didn't appreciate the joke. So I always find it funny when I see stuff like this. When I saw Pussifer last summer for the first time, the whole show was just like a big giant joke. I mean, yes, they're playing their songs, The songs are very well written and put together. It was a well put together production. It was a great show. Everything was great, but there was a lot of humor involved in it because he can be a little more goofy and a little more silly with that band. But yeah, when he does anything with Tool, man, like the fans get serious. And I always remember reading about this story of them taking Tenacious D with them, and people were like throwing pennies at them and just whatever they had in their pockets, they were throwing at them because they just like, like, you're get out of here with your jokes, get out of here with your fun music. We want to see Tool. And I was like, good Lord, like just, and really any Tool fans out there watching this, if we're catching it on the replay or if you're here live, whatever, listen to their albums. There's a lot of jokes mixed into their albums and into their music, but nobody ever wants to admit that because, you know, again, people just have no sense of humor. Yeah, you're getting predictable, Devin, which is not normal for you. You're usually good at keeping people on their toes. So let's see what other fun stories I have here. So I had... All right, let's talk about Oliver Anthony. That's always a hot topic. So I came across an article a couple days ago that it had a little more of a statement from the venue owner also. Hey. Easy there. Easy. So this story's been going around for, I guess, about the past week or so, give or take. Oliver Anthony apparently, booked a show in Knoxville, Tennessee. He didn't like what the venue was going to charge for tickets. He took to social media to post a video and basically just said, don't buy the tickets. We're going to reschedule. We're going to renegotiate. We're going to move, whatever. I came across another article earlier, Monday, sometime within the last few days, where there was a statement from the venue owner kind of clapping back at what Oliver Anthony had to say. I was looking all afternoon. I could not find that exact article or quote about what the guy had to say. But so anyways, the story initially goes, Oliver Anthony's Knoxville show canceled after disagreement over ticket prices. The Richmond north of Richmond singer was expected to perform at a venue by the name of Cotton Eyed Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee on September 27th. So let's scroll down here. Sorry about the ad. Let's get rid of that. You know, you put ad blockers on your computer and then they're like, oh, sorry, that's outdated. That doesn't work anymore. Or you can't view the website if it's going to block the ads. So I did a video about a week or two ago about both Zach Bryan and Tyler Childers kind of doing their damnedest to fight against Ticketmaster. I did just recently have a friend of mine score a handful of tickets to a Tyler Childers concert coming up in April, where you had to go in there, you had to log on, provide all your info to prove you're a real person, and you kind of got this thing of, okay, you know, when the pre-sale happens, we might text you a code where you can go buy tickets. We might not, whatever. But once you bought tickets, first you had to prove you're a real person. But once you bought tickets, they were non-transferable unless you come up and say there's, you know, some sort of family emergency, medical emergency, whatever. So that was the Tyler Childers thing. And that show sold out in, I think they said about an hour. So even these artists that are out here trying to fight Ticketmaster are selling out shows. Here, Oliver Anthony is still very much on the side of kind of wants to be, not that he wants to be left alone, but he's just not seeking that superstar level of fame where he's just, I mean, his songs that are on Spotify right now were recorded on his phone and everything's very kind of grassroots. He's turning down record contracts. He's turning down everybody. Because let's be honest, if he had already been on a record label, the song Richmond, North of Richmond never would have seen the light of day. Record labels follow trends. They see that, okay, people are identifying with this. People like this song. So we're going to try to jump on it because we think it's really popular and trendy right now. So even though a label never would have allowed that song to be released, because people like the song so much, labels are just throwing contracts at him. But as soon as they get him on a contract, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, like you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't. So he's just like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. So Oliver Anthony is standing firm on affordable ticket prices. The singer had a disagreement with a Knoxville, Tennessee music bar called Cotton Eye Joe, where he was scheduled to perform later this month, leading to the show getting canceled and the venue expressing some choice words on social media. So maybe it's in this article, because I feel like I couldn't quite find the one that I was looking for, but we'll see. Ticket prices were listed at $99 with a meet and greet cost of $199 each, which upset Anthony, who recorded a video posted on Instagram to deter fans from paying that price. Quote, "I had to pull off on the side of the road and make this video. My adrenaline's pumping, man," he said in the clip. He continued in the caption, quote, "Don't buy $90 Cotton Eye Joe tickets for $200 or $200 for a meet and greet. That's not acceptable. Just saw the Facebook post and I lost my miscommunication with my friend booking shows and I. My shows should never cost more than $40, ideally no more than $25. Hell, out of the 4 shows we've currently done, 2 of them have been completely free. This will get straightened out tonight. Hold off on buying tickets for now." So that was, and there's this video. That was the entire thing. I don't need to play the video for you because that's exactly what he said. But he made this post on social and he put the video up. However, Cotton Eye Joe took to Facebook to explain that Anthony had agreed to play a 60-minute set at the Knoxville bar for $120,000, which would allow the bar to, quote, "break even and bring our customers a show we thought would be fun." The bar then added a bit of shade by referencing Anthony's Hot 100 chart topper, concluding their message, "To our talent agency and promoter friends that follow us, be careful booking the Northman of Richmond." That was kind of a stupid quote because I think they missed the point of that song. Anyways. See the post here. So there's a link. Down here it says, "I'm not pointing fingers at Cotton Eye Joe. I don't know where the miscommunication took place. I'm just upset seeing those prices," Anthony responded on Facebook, adding that he'll be more involved in upcoming bookings. The 31-year-old's breakout viral hit Richmond, North of Richmond, unexpectedly debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts, which again is something that was, pretty sure, just filmed on his phone. Very not professionally, obviously not in a studio. And among other chart achievements for the singer-songwriter, he's the first artist ever to launch atop the list with no prior chart history in any form. His success story began when a now viral video of Anthony posted on Radio WV began circulating around the internet, showing the singer offering an acoustic performance of Richmond, North of Richmond, vocalizing the pain and angst of the working class at the hands of greedy men. The song takes on high taxes, abuse of welfare, and selfish politicians. And that is exactly what the song is about. Any of you here watching this right now may be familiar with the fact that after a long hiatus of me being gone for better part of 8 months or more, that was the first video that I came back with, was talking about Oliver Anthony, talking about actor Rainn Wilson, better known as playing Dwight on that horrible show The Office that I don't know why people enjoyed. And it's that one's really taken off for me, and it's kind of funny. For the most part, comments and everything have been very positive. Every so often you get a couple trolls in there that can't even put together a coherent sentence or spell properly or use proper grammar, but all I ever have to say to that is, well, don't feed the trolls, because they're just there to try to get you riled up. And I just have to laugh at it at some point. Let's see if I can find some of the more fun comments on that one, where I don't know, when people comment on YouTube videos and they just, all they can do is just, they're trying to be super negative, they're trying to throw anything they can at you, whatever. I don't know if they feel like they're going to hurt my feelings or like this is going to keep me up at night or something, but I just laugh at it. I don't care. You're a bunch of keyboard warriors that you can't seem to, first of all, spell or type. Let's see, what do we got here? So here's one from Glasgow G53. Said, "You're a dick, son. Anything for views. He didn't use record label. He's space dependent." Okay. "The new way to do it. You're fecked, now son. So there's one, like, I don't know. First of all, I don't know why I'm a dick for talking about something that I think interests me. Two, the last part where it says now you're fecked, son. I'm like, what? I mean, this doesn't affect my life in any way. Like, yes, I talked about Rainn Wilson and Oliver Anthony, and yeah, your comment, whatever. But it's like I don't understand that. But number one, it's like, first of all, learn how to type, proofread your comments before you post them. Roman came in with the hot take there. It says no one has any idea what you just tried to say, and he's not wrong. Because and then the next one, the same person commented, jealousy reeks sin. I think they're trying to say jealousy reeks sun, but again, they don't know how to take an extra second to proofread. Um, yeah, just there's been a couple like that where people just come back and say, "Oh, you just sound like you're jealous. Oh, you're doing anything for views." And I mean, okay, maybe in some ways they're not completely wrong, but it's like, isn't that what those of us out here on YouTube are doing? Is that we find a subject or a topic that interests us and we talk about it. So, okay, yeah, maybe I'm doing it for views, maybe I'm doing it for likes, but it's like I'm not just out here doing like any article that pops up on my phone. I go, "Oh, that one's interesting. Let's talk about that." What was an irritating show? What was an irritating show? Oh, The Office. Yeah. I honestly, I had a ton of friends that were super into it, and I'll be completely honest, I gave it a fair shake. I watched a handful of episodes, and I'd be sitting in a room full of people where they would all be like rolling on the floor laughing, and I'm just staring at the TV going, "Well, apparently I missed something. I don't understand." And normally I do like Steve Carell. I like some of his movies. I think he's funny, talented, all that. But The Office just, I don't know if it just kind of became a caricature of itself and it just kept self perpetuating itself. But I don't know. I couldn't. Let's see. So what else? What else we got going on here? I know I said I have a few topics that I want to save for later. But in the meantime, okay, we did the poster for a perfect circle story. Oh yeah. Maybe I should start the live streams with these. New release music, new releases in the music world. New music always comes out on Fridays. I do my streams on Mondays, so deal with it. Um, Two releases that were released on kind of my radar because I'm not going to talk about stuff that I don't care about. I know last week I mentioned the Rolling Stones. I don't care about the Rolling Stones, and I'm not sorry about it. But it is kind of fascinating that they're finally choosing to put out new music after, what was it, like 18 years, I think, or something. And Blair to Blair joining the show. No apologies for being late, sir. Always good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. So, Willie Nelson. There we go. That's better. Willie Nelson, if you are not aware, turned 90 years old this past April. I do think it's kind of ironic that his birthday is almost 420. I think it's off by maybe like 6 or 7 days, maybe a week or so. His birthday is almost 420. But Willie Nelson turned the great age of 90 years old this year, and he's not slowing down. The guy says that he would rather die on stage than retire. And I just hope that I'm not in the crowd at that show when that happens, because nobody wants to see a musician die on stage. Like that's traumatic. That's bad stuff to see. But anyways, he's kind of joked about saying he would rather do that than retire and stay home. So he put out a new album on Friday, and when I was looking up information about this, there seemed to be kind of some discrepancies. This article says 151st album. Wikipedia, I think, said 75th. So I don't know if one is only counting his solo studio albums that are just under the name of Willie Nelson, or if this one is counting maybe when he was part of the Highwaymen or when he's collaborated with other friends of his. Not really sure, but this article I have on the screen right now says that the album, literally just called Bluegrass, is Willie Nelson's 151st album, and he takes on a whole new genre. Many people probably don't realize this. You're probably thinking, "Oh, what's the big deal? Why are you even talking about this?" There actually is quite the difference between country music and bluegrass. Typically, country does not involve a banjo. Sometimes they'll probably have fiddle or something, but banjo and mandolin are two that are a little bit more specifically reserved for the bluegrass genre. So in this album, he pulled out some old favorites, redid some other older songs like "On the Road Again," some of his favorites, and then I think there's a few new ones on there that were new originals. Not necessarily going to go through the whole article, so maybe I'll just pull it up on Spotify so we can look at the track listing. You will give me a moment here to get the Spotify going. My computer is not cooperating today. Here we go. I'm only slightly prepared. Almost there. There we go. All right. Bluegrass. So he had a couple of new songs on here. He had Good Hearted Woman. So obviously that's an old favorite. Bluegrass that one up a little bit. Yesterday's Wine. And then down here, I almost thought it was going to be the last song on the album until I was at work listening to it and pulled my phone out of my pocket and said there's one more after it, but On the Road Again. So definitely go give this one a listen. It's a quick 43-minute listen of Willie Nelson taking on bluegrass at 90 years old. The next one that I've been listening to a lot lately, if you're familiar with or not familiar with, is a band by the name of Explosions in the Sky. I believe I said in my I don't know what to call them anymore. Like, okay, it's supposed to be okay, well, Lady Marine's falling asleep. We lost her. So where was I going with this? See, now you just distracted me. Explosions in the Sky. I think when I tweeted about it, I'm not really sure what to call it anymore. Yes, we changed the name to X, but it's like, are they still tweets? Do we call them X's? I don't know what's what. When I first put this out there on Friday, I think I referred to them as prog rock, which I think progressive rock, progressive whatever can mean a lot of different things. I mean, I think the band Tool is a progressive rock band. Obviously, Dream Theater is a progressive rock band. Rush. So these guys are their music's usually a little more slow, a little more mellow, but it does have its ebbs and flows and builds and everything. But I don't know. I personally think I would put them still kind of in the progressive rock realm. They're all instrumental. There's never any vocals or lyrics in any of their songs. They are known for doing the soundtrack for the movie Lone Survivor, the Marcus Luttrell story, as well as many other movies and television series. Series. You know what? I'm trying here. I do have some links ready, some stuff I'm not ready. This is what happens when I do stuff alone, or just when I try to live stream in general. You get what you get. That's why beer and or whiskey is highly recommended. So new album from Explosions in the Sky as well. They've been there. Not a lot is known about these guys, honestly. The album is called The End. The whole time that they were advertising the album, talking about the album, talking about the upcoming tour, everything just kept saying The End album, The End tour. But it's like, is the band breaking up? Is this the end of the band? This was what they wanted to call the album? And I thought it was interesting. Down here, the last track on the album is called It's Never Going to Stop. So whatever that may or may not mean, it's kind of hard to tell when a band doesn't have any lyrics in their songs. And very little is known about them anyways. So those are kind of my two on the release radar this week in terms of check out new album from Explosions in the Sky. Check out that new album from Willie Nelson. I know my musical tastes are all over the place. I worked for a banjo shop briefly some years ago and developed a greater appreciation for the bluegrass genre during my time working for that company. Got to go to a couple of cool shows while working there. One of which was at one point I did make a banjo for the Dropkick Murphys and get to see them live. But if you go back and watch another older video I have about Dropkick Murphys, I'm no longer a fan of them. And I know a lot of people come in and they watch the video and they go, oh, like, you don't understand punk rock, you don't, whatever. And I'm like, no, I understand. I understand that punk rock is supposed to be anti-establishment, damn the man, anti-everything. I don't want to go to a punk show and just get lectured about, oh, well, you're voting this way and these people are all elites and they don't care about you, but you should listen to me. And it's like, well, both political parties are full of elite douchebags and neither party cares about them. Yeah, see, Blair knows what's up. He saw it. He was around when I did that video. So, yeah, I just like the amount of comments I've gotten on that video where they're like, oh, apparently you don't understand punk rock. Apparently you don't understand this. Apparently you don't understand that. I'm like, no, all I understand is that if a punk band is going to go on about the government, I'm expecting them to pretty much denounce the entire thing. I don't expect them to get up there and say, my side is better than your side. It's like, well, no, because you're voting for one particular party, which is full of all the Hollywood elites and everything. And don't try to sit there for 1 second and act like all of the elite people on your side of the fence actually give a crap about us either. They're all, pro union, pro everything. Labor unions had their place in this country at one point in time. But now it's just one more government organization that wants to take more money out of your paycheck. And it's a bunch of suits sitting in an office determining what's best for people like me down on the shop floor running the machines. So Dropkick Murphys, that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, I mean, the guy's up there claiming he's like, oh, if you're one of them election deniers, I'll fight you in the parking lot. I'm like, I would love to see someone knock his doughy ass out because he doesn't look like he could actually fight at this point in time. Ken Casey. Let's see. All right, I can kind of touch on this one briefly. Ooh, bad choice of words. I'll probably make a separate video about this anyways, but this has definitely been a hot topic over the last few days. But this one actually still connects into the music world a little bit. So for those of you who are not aware, I don't blame you. The guy on the left there that goes by the name of Noodles is the guitarist for a band that used to be punk 30 years ago called The Offspring. We got Maxfield Von Priestley in the house. What's going on? Cheers to you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for the congratulations on 200 subs. Little victories, man. Just inching forward, little by little. So, Noodles from The Offspring. This is a band that has not been relevant for almost 30 years and has not been considered punk rock, in my personal opinion, in a lot longer. But of course, he had something to say about all the Russell Brand controversy. So like I said, I'm still probably going to make a totally separate video about this at some point in time, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention it today because I think this is hilarious. Noodles from The Offspring reacts to the Russell Brand controversy saying, quote, that creep was trying to start a cult. So if you've been living under a rock for the last 48 to 72 hours, you've missed the fact that some Russell Brand side of it is that some former lady friends of his that he was either dating or just hooked up with or whatever are now coming back and claiming misconduct. I gotta tiptoe around this one because the YouTube censorship gods are real touchy about certain words and language and whatnot. He is claiming that everything that he ever did was consensual. Also, some of the stories are saying that some of these girls, and these claims are from 10 to 15 years ago. I don't know exactly how old Russell Brand is. But these claims are from quite a while ago. Some of them, they're saying these girls were 16 years old at the time. If any of you follow Anna, that Star Wars girl, she has been tweeting furiously about this lately, saying that for those of you who don't know, in the UK, 16 is actually the age of consent. So very different than America, where here it's 18. But just kind of quickly pointing out the fact that now that Russell Brand has taken to YouTube, started his own channel, has gotten very successful legion of followers, and he's constantly putting videos out calling out misinformation on the virus of unknown origins, the jab that we're all supposed to take to make it go away, even though we know it doesn't work, other things about the government and everything that now of 10, 15 years later, all this time later, now they're trying to take this guy down And it seems like a very well timed, calculated attack because suddenly the left doesn't like the stuff that he's putting out there. Again, I'm going to do more research into this to make my own separate video about it. But the funny thing to me about this guy from The Offspring trying to call him out and call him a creep, trying to call him he's starting a cult and blah, 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 whatever. Not that long ago, The Offspring, because they're super punk rock and super anti-establishment and super damn the man, kicked out their drummer because he wouldn't get the jab for the virus of unknown origins that doesn't actually do anything to stop said virus. So, they told their drummer, like, hey, like, you won't do this thing, so we're going to kick you out. It's really punk rock, right? That's cool. All right. So, and actually, I need to do a video about this one too. I kind of missed the window. They have announced their existence a few months ago, but the drummer that was booted out of The Offspring, along with members of other bands that had similar clashes with bandmates over we'll just say mandates, have started a new band called The Defiant. And I cannot wait for their album to come out because I'm sure that it's going to be all sorts of like big middle fingers to the government, the establishment, big pharma, all the stuff that's been going on the last 3 years that we're all supposed to feel bad about speaking out against, that they're just going to be like, no, like this is what we have to say about this. So here it says several women recently accused Brand of assault, harassment, emotional abuse, and the comedian has since received harsh backlash, though there were names such as Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, Tucker Carlson, who openly supported him. So good old Noodles from The Offspring first reacted to a New York Post tweet. So they still call them tweets. All right, they're still tweets. Reporting how the three men stood by Brand. The guitarist said, quote, choose your rogues gallery wisely. Then he had his own claims about the comedian, as well as the rocker tweeted the following, quote, that creep has been trying to start a cult for years. It should come as no surprise that he is credibly accused of the big hard R word and other stuff. That's what cult leaders do. I'm going to have to stop right there because everything that I've been seeing so far says that all of the claims and all the accusations and everything that's been coming out against him have been anonymous. There's been no physical evidence. The accusations date as far back as 10 to 15 years ago. So here, Noodles is saying he is credibly accused. Well, I would like to know what kind of evidence Mr. Noodles seems to think that he credibly has against Russell Brand, because so far everything I've been seeing is anonymous. And I know everyone's saying you have to believe all women and you don't want to shame the victims and whatever. But we are supposed to be a society of innocent until proven guilty. If they come back and find some way to prove that Russell Brand is guilty of the things that these women are accusing him of, then so be it. But for right now, he has essentially already started to lose his entire career based just on an allegation. I mean, look at what happened to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp went to court and essentially won his case, but his career will never be the same again because someone lied about him. He also replied to a user stating how they'd always found Brand creepy, replying with, agreed, there was always something super creepy about him. I tried to figure out what others saw in him, but I never thought he was funny. Brand responded to the accusations through a recent YouTube video as he refuted all of the claims and allegations made against him by 4 women. You can view Noodles' tweets and accusations below. So that's kind of the long and short of that one. I think I grabbed this article off of Facebook, but it was funny. The Facebook page that I found that posted it, a majority of the comments were saying, oh, yeah, well, isn't that the guy that's part of the... Yeah, screw it, I'll just say it. Isn't that the guy that's part of the COVID cult? Isn't that the guy that kicked his drummer out for not getting the jab? Isn't that the guy who... So it's, pot, meat, kettle. I don't know. But, oh, yeah. Thank you, sir, for the congratulations on the 200 subs. Anna had a long show talking about it today. She's going to continue it tomorrow. Yeah, I've been seeing her tweets about it, and people are just furiously attacking her. And it just, uh, anyone here probably already follows her, or probably already knows about Anna, that Star Wars girl. But I mean, she does her research, man. Like she's not just some idiot talking into the camera like me, where I'm like, I found this article today. Like when she does something, when she puts something out there, man, like she does her research. She knows what she's talking about, and people just keep coming back and trying to destroy her for it. And it's like, well, until we see some actual real hard evidence, or until these people accusing Russell Brand of this decide to no longer be anonymous, let's just, let's hold off a second. So earlier when I started the live stream, I was talking about Maynard James Keenan. So a few years ago, something very similar happened to him. Some ladies came out, accused him of this, that, and the other. They were all anonymous. Places or news sources like the Rolling Stone tried to reach out and say, hey, we want to talk to you, we want to corroborate your story, we want to this, that, and the other. And they come back and go, oh no, I'm working with this, I'm working with that one. And they just kind of pushed off any major news source that actually wanted to try to corroborate their stories. Maynard kept very quiet about it for a few days. None of the members of any of his other bands said anything. And then finally, after a bit of silence, he came back and said, obviously, these are all false claims. I appreciate those of you who saw through this, and to the rest of you, maybe, put your phone away for a couple days. It'll probably do you good. And nothing else ever came of it. There's never any sort of law enforcement involved. There was no further legal action. There was no further investigation into Maynard because, again, the accusers remained anonymous, even though they claimed that they were working with bigger news sources to come out with this. Till Lindemann, the singer for German heavy metal band, industrial metal band, whatever you want to call them, Rammstein, recently also came up against something similar, where again, they were all anonymous claims. The band and everyone else sort of took a step back. They canceled some tour dates. He was investigated. They looked into it, and Germany came back later and said, we have dropped all investigations on Till Lindemann because we found that there's no hard evidence. There's nothing to base this off of. So, this whole Me Too movement thing, yes, when Harvey Weinstein was in power and doing his thing, he is someone who needed to be taken care of. He was someone who needed to be taken down. But we've gone so far to this other side of believe all women that, as soon as you just have like an ex-girlfriend that maybe felt a little slighted, she can just say, oh yeah, I was abused, I was this, I was that, I was whatever and stuff. And it's just we've shifted from the innocent until proven guilty to the just automatically believe all women and destroy people's careers. And it's like, well, as of right now with the Russell Brand thing, I'm not saying this stuff is untrue. I'm just saying let's give it a little bit of time before we destroy the guy's entire career and his entire reputation. Maybe this stuff is true. Maybe he did do something wrong. Maybe he did break the law. As of right now, nobody really knows. And it's like, let's all calm down a minute. But in the court of social media, you are immediately guilty. So more on that later. Let's pull up some more stories that are eye-rolling worthy. This one comes to us from I would say it kind of comes from the country world, but this is not an artist I would necessarily consider country because I am not familiar with this individual's music, but based on comments and things that I've seen, it's not great. Not all women tell the truth, but everyone knows Russell is weird and has his own way of being gross and funny. Yeah, and he'll be the first one to be very upfront and honest that, yeah, he went through a lot of years of, abusing alcohol, abusing drugs, being very promiscuous. Like he does not lie about his past. He does not lie about his life. So initially the story is that, yeah, some girls hooked up with him and he was at a phase in his life where he was just going to do anything and everything that he thought was fun and felt good and whatever. And now all these years later, after, the Me Too movement's been cranking for quite a while now, that they waited until, oh, well, now he's got this YouTube channel where he's like putting out what people think is, quote, misinformation because he's speaking out against the government and other things of that nature. The timing of it just seems very convenient in that, like, why now? Like, when, I mean, I'm not going to look it up because whatever, but it's like, I mean, how long ago was it when like the first claims started coming out against Harvey Weinstein that did turn out to be true? I mean, it's kind of been a while. I want to say at least 10 years, maybe more. I don't know. Let's get into the country music world here a little bit. Anyone familiar with Maren Morris? No? Okay, well, it's not really worth mentioning, but I just still think this is so funny because I wouldn't say I've been following this story for a long time, but little blurbs pop up here and there. A pop country artist that nobody cares about calls it quits with country music, saying, quote, "It's burning itself down without my help." Well, actually, maybe you were the one helping to burn it down by making crappy music. But this is a so-called artist who had recently gotten into a battle on the Twitters back when it was actually called Twitter, I believe, with Jason Aldean's wife, because she, I guess, has her own makeup line or something, and she's posting stuff on social media of her doing her makeup and whatnot, and made some quip about, oh, I'm so glad my parents let me go through my tomboy phase without putting me on puberty blockers. I'm probably going to get canceled for saying that full sentence out loud, but, here we are. So this so-called country artist, Maren Morris, came out and started battling with them and calling them all sorts of backwards redneck hicks and this and that and the other. And she's gone on to refer to the country music industry as like an abusive relationship that you have to keep making excuses for and saying, oh, it's not really that bad. But now she's saying that everyone's sexist and everyone's racist and everyone's this and that and the other. And the comments, again, I think I nabbed this article off of a Facebook post from Whiskey Riff. A majority of the comments were people saying, who, never heard of her, nobody cares, she doesn't make real country music. But she's making this big elaborate exit to the country music world as if it's like, okay, this isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your departure from a music industry that she claims to have loved and to have grown up with, and you're going to try to fix it from the ground up all on your own. But did you really love it though? Because really good old-fashioned classic country music, outlaw country music was, God, guns, and country. And all of a sudden now she's over here saying, oh, we're not representing enough groups, we're not being inclusive, we're not whatever. And it's like, I don't know where you've been, but there's one quote here where she's saying, these two songs are incredibly key to my next step because they express a very righteously angry and liberating phase of my life these last couple of years, but also how my navigation is finally pointing towards the future, whatever that may be or sound like. Righteously angry. The language that some of these people use is just weird. Honoring where I've been and what I've achieved in country music. I'm not sure what she's achieved in country music because I, honest to God, couldn't name a single song by her, but here we are. But also freely moving forward. So she's going to go on to fail in another genre, I guess. Maren also took to Instagram to vividly outline the meaning of the two songs on this EP that she just recently put out, basically her way of burning down the country industry. Okay, well, nice try. The first, titled, quote, "The Tree," is essentially voices Maren's exit from the country music community, and I'm sure all two of her fans will be super upset about that. Saying, quote, "I thought I'd like to burn it to the ground and start over, but it's burning itself down without my help." Oh. The music video features this quaint little town with various signs that read, "Go woke, go broke. I believe in God and guns," as well as the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, an obvious shot at Jason Aldean and his "try that in a small town" notion of small town life. Okay, can we just talk about that for a minute? Taking shots at Jason Aldean's song "Try That in a Small Town." So I know, I get it. This song was met with all sorts of controversy. Everyone was saying that, oh, he's an ist, he's a phobe, he's a this, he's a that, he's a whatever, something. It's like, no. As someone who lives in a town, who lives in a community where when all those protests happened a couple years ago, three different buildings in my neighborhood, 2 banks and an office building, were burned to the ground during these so-called peaceful protests. People were going through going up and through small businesses and smashing out windows and rioting and looting, and they were running out of stores with barbecues and hair care products and all this stuff, because that's all part of the cause. That was all part of their peaceful protests. Is they really needed to steal that barbecue, they really needed to break into that jewelry store, they needed to smash the window on that small business that now someone who's just barely trying to put food on the table while the virus of unknown origins is keeping their business closed, and now they have to deal with this. Okay, so where I live is not a small town. It's much more of a city. What I think Jason Aldean was saying in the Try That in a Small Town was that people look out for each other. People have each other's backs. He's not saying they're going out looking for trouble, but he's saying that if something were to happen like what happened in my city, more of the residents would have risen up and put a stop to it a lot sooner than it did, to where maybe we wouldn't have had 3 buildings in the neighborhood burned down. Maybe that's just, I don't know. But again, everybody all wants to come out and say, oh, no, you're just being a whatever. They want to throw all sorts of criticism at him. And then, of course, she's over here, Captain Social Justice Warrior, that wants to be all inclusive and all everything. So she's doubling down on trying to take shots at Jason Aldean. And, not even necessarily a huge Jason Aldean fan, but I definitely know that he's been around a lot longer than her and probably has a lot more hits than her, probably sells out concerts. I really honestly barely know who this person is, other than the fact that her trying to take shots at Jason Aldean's wife and now trying to take direct shots at Jason Aldean. So she goes on to explain the song as follows, saying, quote, I wrote this on the 10-year anniversary of my moving to Nashville. So she's not even from Nashville. It's about a toxic family tree burning itself to the ground. Halfway through, I realized it's burning itself down without any of my help. It sounds like she has a really high opinion of herself. This song evokes the pain of exhausting all your love and time for this person or entity, but realizing it's just a draining transactional relationship that isn't nourishing in any healthy way. By the end of the song, I give myself permission. Oh, she gives herself permission to face the sun, plant new seeds where it's safer to grow, and realize that sometimes there is greener grass elsewhere. She continues on. This is the aftermath of the tree burning. So she put out a 2-song EP. This is the second one. Oh, yeah, I agree. She sounds like a hack. I think she may have like one popular song called Hallelujah or something like that I've maybe heard other people cover, but I don't know her version. Yeah, whatever career she has, if she had one, I don't know. So the second song on her EP of her grand exit to the country music industry. So this is the aftermath of the tree burning. Being quite literally burned out, this is a story of me feeling pulled in every direction, needing everyone else's understanding and acceptance but my own, and how self-destructive that ultimately became. I relinquished control of trying to change everyone's mind or bad faith behavior and focus on my own power going forward. Man, how many buzzwords did she fit into that sentence? Doing the right thing can feel lonely at times, but there are more friends than foes, so I finally quit making myself one of them. And then here's stuff where it's like, between Maren Morris and Jason Aldean's wife, they both started making merchandise with funny quotes from the other one and making money off of whatever. So here's she's got like, trans lifeline, whatever. Just that one. I don't think anyone's gonna miss her. I don't think anyone cares. I think I have at least one last one here that I might still do a separate video for, but I would be remiss if I did not talk about some of the hometown homies that came out of my hometown and have made it big. You can say what you want about them. Yes, they are very poppy. They're pop punk, whatever you want to call them, whatever. But these guys came out of my hometown, and I still think it's kind of a cool claim to fame for where I live. So last year, or was it earlier this year? I can't even tell anymore. The classic trio lineup of Blink-182 reunited with Tom DeLonge after him being gone for 2 albums. That's, a whole other story, whatever. But they got back together. They've been doing big, massive tours. They have also been having their own bouts with Ticketmaster. I think even Mark Hoppus cracking a joke at one point about how he couldn't even get tickets to his own show because of just the nightmare that is Ticketmaster right now, and scalpers and all of that stuff. But they've released, I believe, one new song so far, and now finally, we saw it coming. They've actually announced their first full-length album back together since 2011, and I believe 2015 was the last time they'd all performed together before this past year. Blink-182's Mark Hoppus, Tom DeLonge, and Travis Barker are back with their first new album together since 2011 called One More Time. It is due out October 20th. The title track single is out this Thursday, September 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It's just funny because they live here in California. Check out the track list, plus an album trailer previewing new music and an expansive interview with Zane Lowe below. The trailer reveals that One More Time is about the heartbreaking circumstances that the band members went through prior to the reunion, saying, quote, on the album, One More Time is written about why does it take these catastrophes like me being in a plane crash. So if you don't remember, the first time Blink-182 went on hiatus, Travis Barker was in a really bad plane crash and had a lengthy haul of rehab coming back from that one. Why does it take catastrophes like me being in a plane crash or Mark Hoppus, bassist, being sick? He was diagnosed with cancer. As of right now, he's cancer-free. Everything's all good. Went through his treatments and everything. For our band to get back together, Travis Barker says in the trailer. Tom DeLonge added, coming out with these words one more time, it's like, hey, this is the last time we are going to F this up. Travis Barker produced the album One More Time. The new album follows Blink-182's two albums with guitarist Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio, 2016's California and 2019's Nine. Back in April, Blink-182 were surprise guests at Coachella, where the classic lineup performed on both weekends and headlined the second after Frank Ocean pulled out. That reunion, the classic lineup's first show since 2015, followed Blink-182's return last October with their single Edging. Blink-182 had been slated to tour South America a month before, but postponed the dates when Barker sustained an injury requiring finger surgery. This month, the band postponed tour dates, citing a family matter, namely that Barker's wife, Kourtney Kardashian, underwent surgery. He has since rejoined the tour. Blink-182 started teasing something new this month with the video and posters appeared pointing to the band's website. A landing page featured a digital clock flashing at 9:21 corresponding to today's date. So now here they've already revealed the full track listing, 17 tracks. But even then, I think a Blink-182 album with 17 tracks will probably still be less than 30 minutes long. The only famous person I know of that came from my hometown is Brad Pitt. Is that like the little barfing emoji? I don't know. I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about Brad Pitt. Like, has he gone super woke? Is he kind of cringy now? I'm not really sure. Because my understanding is I wouldn't be too embarrassed about something like that, but maybe he's spouted off in some stupid stuff in the media that I'm not aware of. And then there's, the trailer, the three of them. And yeah, so it's just kind of wild that like each time the band kind of takes a hiatus or each time they kind of split up or whatever, something happens. Travis Barker gets in a plane crash. Mark Hoppus gets diagnosed with cancer, and it gets them all back in the same room together. Where they said it initially starts with they're not getting together talking about the band. They're not getting together talking about let's get the band back together. Let's go on tour. Let's do music. It's just that at the end of the day, like these guys have been friends for a really long time, and like anything else, like friendships, like families, you have your ups and downs, and maybe something goes sideways, maybe you don't talk for a little while, and then you come back and go, oh, but that was stupid. Why did we stop talking? Why did we stop hanging out? So I actually think it's really kind of cool that, again, maybe not the biggest Blink-182 fan out there, but just being that they are from my hometown and just seeing that when tough circumstances do bring them back together, that to me that means that they actually are friends, that they still do really care about each other. It's not like Slash reuniting with Guns N' Roses and Axl Rose just to get a paycheck, or not the Slash needed the paycheck, but just the fact that, the guys in Guns N' Roses all still hate each other, but they're touring the world because, well, it's they got the opportunity to do it and they're doing it. But these guys, I still think it seems like they kind of legitimately care about each other, because these circumstances do bring them back together. So with that, I've already kind of spoiled at least 2 topics that I'm going to do shorter individual videos about, so that these topics don't get completely buried in this live stream. I've been going for about an hour now. I think I've kind of made my way through the topics that I wanted to talk about. So just real quick, going through the chat, we had Lady Marine here harassing me the entire time. Devin popped in for a minute. Maxfield Von Priestley, Jacob Ironside, Blair to Blair. Always good to see all of you in the chat. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night and tune out for now. But tune in next Monday for my next weekly roundup. We'll see what kind of new music is coming out in the world, or what sorts of weird stories are coming out with artists that nobody cares about, who are announcing their exits from their respective genres. And until then, I'm John, the creative blue collar guy. Thank you for tuning in. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday and enjoy your week, and I will see you next Monday. Cheers.
Be excellent to each other.